Simple Jack, yeah, you went all out on that one, huh? You did. Really swung for the fences, huh?
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, yeah. Yeah, it was an intense experience. You know, I just did the work. Watched a lot of retarded people. Spent time with them, observed them. Watched all the retarded stuff they did. But, you know, there were times when I was doing Jack that I actually felt retarded, like really retarded.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron.
Yeah.
To be moronical.
Exactly. To be a moron.
An imbecile.
Yeah.
Not the dumbest that ever lived. Stupid Jack.
By the end of the whole thing, I was like, wait a minute, you know? I flushed so much out, how am I gonna jumpstart it up again? It's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
You was farting in bathtubs and laughing you off.
Yeah. I mean, it was just really it was crazy.
It's not working with Mercury. You're serious? You don't know. Everybody knows you never go full retard.
What do you mean?
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Going straight to the sky, let me see you put your hands up. Cause we do till we die and we on another level.
So I want to be clear. Not all paranormal and cryptic groups are custom shows. But the one I was in was full of cult members. Listen, I just wanted to share my story and try and get answers. But when I started to share the details about my experience, the eye shine, height, weight, color, next thing I knew I was invited to a closed group. And after that, I get like 15 Facebook friend requests. Listen, I should have known something was off immediately because they started telling me that I needed to interview. And I was constantly getting messages. Have you had any more activity? Are you going to do the interview? I mean, real pushy behavior. And then when I told one of them I started having some strange occurrences right around my house, they went absolutely crazy. It was like I was being swarmed by this hive of bees. It quickly moved to them asking me to go back to the location where I had my encounter and get evidence. And when I said no, then they really turned aggressive. This one girl, Christina with a K, who later I learned was actually a man, sends me a message saying, "We know where you live based on your Facebook check-ins, and we'll come and find it ourselves." I'm thinking to myself, man, hold the f up. This is not what I signed up for. All I wanted to do was tell my story and get a few questions answered. Then, simultaneously, all 15 of them, blocked me. Listen, my Dogman encounter was scary, but it wasn't horror movie scary. And listen, prior to having my encounter, I didn't know much about Dogman at all. Anyway, listen to this. I'm out hunting, right? As I normally do, my same hunting ground. And I stumble upon this mining tunnel that I had never seen before. Now, granted, there's a whole bunch of tunnels in this area. It's just this particular one I had never seen before. So I had no fear of it. I decided to start poking around a bit. When I get right to the entrance, it smells like wet dog. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe the coyotes have made a den in here. So I go on about my business. That evening, when I get through hunting and I'm headed back to my vehicle, I see this giant wolf down on all fours coming out of that tunnel. It comes out, sniffs the air, and takes off running into the woods like a freaking bolt of lightning. Now, of course I was scared out of my mind because I've never seen a wolf the size of a freaking bull. But it ignores me, goes on about its business, does absolutely nothing to me. For all I knew, it could have had a dental appointment. Now, I go home, which is about 10 miles away, counting my lucky stars that things turned out the way they did. Later that night, I end up leaving the house, headed to my truck to get a pack of cigarettes. That's when I see this eye shine across the road in the trees. Then this wolf steps out onto the roadway, standing on its hind legs, and looks at me. And I'm telling you, this thing wanted me to see it. It stood there long enough for me to understand what the hell was going on. Its fur was black, and I'm not talking about regular black. I'm talking about so black that the light from the street lamp was absorbed into its fur. Then it turns and walks away. Now I took it as a warning. The animal actually said, "Hey, you came to my house, I'm coming to yours, and now we're even." but I still wanted to know more about it. And that's how I ended up in that freaking Facebook group. But the scenario I found myself in after seeing this creature was all up. I get threatened by these strangers that they're going to come to my area looking for Dogman. A week later, I'm at the grocery store, and this guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, Gabe," then walks past me. And listen to me when I tell you, I've never seen this man before in my life. Now get this, I go hunting a few days later. I'm out in the woods, and guess who I bump into with two other guys? These are out there canvassing the woods less than 10 miles away from my house. Listen to me. Honestly, I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to shoot all three of these because I knew it was them from the Facebook group, and when I asked them about it, not one of them could look me in my eye. So I decided the best thing to do was to tell them exactly what they wanted. So I walked them directly over to the entrance of that tunnel. And get this, these three, even though I've clearly explained to them what I experienced, not one of them was armed. These idiots are just prancing around in the woods like I'm lying. And now listen to me, I'm going to tell you just like I told the sheriff, the last time I saw those three were right there at the entrance to that tunnel. Now later that night I hear sirens and a helicopter, but I'm watching TV, whatever, it's none of my business. 3 days later I bump into John, one of my neighbors from up the street who's a sheriff in town. I'm at the bar smoking a cigarette, drinking whiskey. He and I start to catch up. He asks me about my family, how things are going. I ask him about his job, and he says everything was going well until a couple of days ago. And he tells me about these three fools that he had to carry to the hospital and how one of them had to be flown out by a helicopter because something picked him up and slammed him up against a tree, fracturing his spine. John goes on to explain to me that he's not sure what the hell got a hold of these fellas, but it did a number on them, and one of them lost an arm. Now, you know how they say honesty is the best policy, right? Well, this is why, because John's my neighbor, and I told him, well, man, I think I know the three guys you're talking about. And I tell him the entire story about Facebook and Dogman, the whole thing. He's sitting there looking at me like I'm absolutely insane. Next thing you know, the sheriff wants me to come down for questioning and the assault of these three. And like I said before, what I told the sheriff was, I left their stupid asses right there at the entrance to that mining tunnel. Listen to me when I tell you, they questioned me for over an hour, asking me how I know these guys from Ohio. What was the name of the Facebook group? Listen, this turned out to be way worse than my Dogman encounter. Listen to me, when I leave the sheriff's office, I'm pissed. I didn't invite those to come here. Now I'm being questioned in their assault. So now that I'm back on Facebook trying to find them. And like I said before, all 15 of those people blocked me. But when I go back to the original group where I met them, I've been booted out of that. Man, please listen to what I'm saying to you. Yes, I saw Dogman, and things turned out fine. But the biggest mistake I made was opening my mouth about it. Because had I said absolutely nothing at all, the only thing that would have transpired was I went to its house, it came to my house, and that would have been it. There would have been no sheriff involved, no hour-long interrogation. If I can give you a piece of advice, it's this. Be careful who you accept a friend request from. And go inside of your Facebook profile and turn off your check-ins. Because these out here are crazy over Dogman.